Welcome to Elation Podcast. Today we are with Alexis Cannon. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
It's good to see you.
You too?
I'm going to call you Lex from now on because that's how I know you.
Okay.
So you good with
Good.
that?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right. Good. It's good to see you. You got a lot going on, so I'm excited to talk about, what you're doing now and some things because you got a lot of exciting things going on. But let's talk about a little bit about your background a little bit. Let's give a little bit of information about you. Where are you from?
Born and raised in Louisiana, definitely the outskirts of New Orleans, River Ridge area. And now I've been residing in Slidell, so not far.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to a lot of them. I was like you. I went to St. Rita on Jefferson Highway, and my life was pretty stable. My whole childhood, I stayed in River Ridge, and then high school, I went to 6 of them, and then I tried
6.
Yeah, I was
crazy.
I was crazy.
I mean, I got kicked out of a couple, but 6, damn.
I got you beat.
Yeah, you got me beat.
Okay.
You definitely got me beat. Well, okay, I was asked not to return, whatever that means.
I had a few of those.
Yeah, whatever that means. But definitely don't come back on campus. But yeah, no. So 6. Well, that's crazy. Well, it's hard to meet friends like that.
Yeah, well, not for me. I'm a networker. So for me, no matter where I went to school, I met people and I hung out with everybody. I never was with a clique for sure, but I was also
oh, it's definitely better to be friends. You can be in any clique in a sense. You can kind of cross. I mean, I was always friends with the really bad kids, but then I was also friends with the nerds because I needed help with my homework. So, it all kind of coincided, and you end up being friends with everybody in the school. But so that's awesome. What school do you think you like the most?
I didn't really like any of them, but I guess the high school that had the biggest impact on me. I don't know. That's a really hard question. School was never a good thing.
Well, there had to be one that you go back to and you're like, man, those times were fun. Because for me, it's funny. It wasn't really high school because once I became a freshman, I became an asshole. So I was really a bad kid at that point, and things started going that way. So my good times really were in grade school at St. Paul's, where actually I met my wife. It was more of a family-oriented school, small classrooms. So even today, 15 of us out of our probably 25 kids that were in 8th grade all kind of get together and still talk and get together and have drinks and stuff like that. So that was where I really connected with people, I think, the most.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying. There had to be one school kind of in particular that you were like, oh yeah, that was fun.
Definitely St. Rita, because that's where I grew up. I went there for so long, and all my childhood friends, neighborhood friends, definitely that school was at a good point in my childhood, I think.
I got you. Did you do music at all?
I actually did. I was in the band that played the xylophone. I just wanted to do music. I didn't know what instrument, and then I found the drums, and that's when I fell in love with music.
I played the bells in 8th grade.
Really?
Okay, that was all they had to offer at St. Paul's. So we played bells, and it was pretty humiliating, but it was fun.
Yeah.
At least they put me on the end, the heavy bells. I felt like a man, But anyway,
That's funny.
Yeah. So music starts somewhere, What do you think was your first release of music where you really felt like you're an artist?
Probably at 17 when I really started writing lyrics and putting it to beats and doing it as a music artist, because as a kid I wrote poetry nerdy. I didn't even understand what being a writer was. I didn't think it was cool. I knew that much. And then I think playing the drums gave me the rhythm, and when I figured out how to combine those two things, and I was like, okay, I can rap, I can do this. And when I started rapping and writing lyrics to music, I think that was I was like, I think I'm on to something here. I need to tap into this.
Right.
And that
caught the bug.
Yeah, I was 17 at the time. I was already in college. I graduated early because I went to boarding school and all that. So I had a lot of time to myself. None of my other friends were in college yet. And I had a MacBook which was my home studio.
Right.
And I would just sit there and make music for hours by myself. Not good music, but like me learning how to actually like write a song,
Yeah,
you know?
it starts somewhere. I mean, those first couple instrument songs that you touch just don't, it doesn't translate to anything. But you got to keep moving with it. What did you end up going to college for?
I was in school for business. Business management, I think, was the actual term. I was at ULL, so in Lafayette.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up dropping out with a 3.8 and opening up an LLC because I wanted to keep my GPA high if I ever wanted to go back to school. And I knew me, and I was falling in love with music fast. And I was slowly seeing me not showing up to class, not caring about school.
Right.
And I wanted to leave in a good position in case I did want to go back. But I wanted to
I got you.
take it seriously and put it number one.
Yeah, well, so when you have a passion before you go to college, it's tough to stay in college realm. I mean, I didn't necessarily have a passion, but I had a job. I was working. I had my own car dealership in Palm Beach.
Really?
I had. So I'm actually the youngest person in the state of Florida to get their dealer's license. I was 17 when I got my dealer's license, and I guess about a year and a half later is when it was time to go to college, and I was in college for like 3 months, and I was sitting there. I was from business, and I was trying to learn from a guy who was way farther behind than where I had already accomplished, and I just sitting there. Like, I remember one day sitting in the parking lot, have him pull up in his little piece of shit car, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, what is this guy going to teach me? Like, and it just lost all credibility for me and lost all motivation to stay in class. So I just started partying until they kicked me out. Literally, is what I did. They pulled me in. Like,
Where were you at?
So I didn't have the grades to get into UT, but so I went to St. Edward's in Austin, and the goal was to do a year at St. Edward's and then transfer it into
get
UT.
the GPA.
Yeah. But I never made it past the first semester. I literally, I mean, I guess I was almost at the end of the second semester, and they pulled me in the class. The principal's office pulled me in, and they said, "Where you been? You haven't been to class in like a month and a half." Around, because I had my grandfather convinced them to let me have an apartment off campus freshman year. He told them that he was going to live with me, and he lived in Florida. So I was the only freshman with an off-campus apartment. We were partying.
Yeah, you were the guy. You had the party house,
we were partying.
For sure.
So anyway, so I told him that I had a career and all this other stuff before I came, and I really want to go back and work on that instead of leaving it to my partner. And they looked at me like, well, what are you doing here then? This isn't for you.
It's like once you like have a taste of business and the real world and experience, it's hard, at least for people with like an entrepreneurship type brain, to just see that, taste it, and then pretend like it doesn't matter and sit out on the bench and live that lifestyle with school. It's a completely different lifestyle. Like I see it with my artist Callie, like how she's in school and she's got a year left, but I'm like, you have no idea. Like you really don't. But it's good for some people, I think, to finish school, like depending on what kind of degree you're getting. School is for people, just wasn't for me, and obviously not for you either.
Yeah, no, not at all. And that was the thing. I mean, it's a tool to use. But
I respect it.
But if you don't need that tool, it's going to hold you back.
Exactly.
And so anyway, yeah. So that was the journey, and then I went back to Florida and realized that car business was not where I was at anyway. I had to get back into music. I had to get into music, but anyway, so I know you started your label. And I'd like you to talk a little bit about your transition from artist to management, because it's a big leap, but I feel like being an artist allows you to understand what an artist needs, so it helps you be in management. Explain a little bit about what that journey was and how you decided that.
Yeah, it was definitely a decision. It wasn't even a decision. It's something like as a kid. Like
you had movement as an artist.
Yeah,
I mean,
as an artist, I never thought, like when I was 17 to 21, I never would have considered writing a song for somebody else. I didn't see the value in it. I just was like me oriented as an artist. And then, life changes happen. I did have a movement buzzing with rap in Baton Rouge and in the New Orleans area and stuff like that. And I went through some stuff in my life, and I wanted to step away from music entirely. And I did. I focused on opening up a distribution company, which had nothing to do with music, not music distribution, like tangible products for stores.
Gotcha.
And I was killing it in that, and COVID happened. And I was stuck home going through my hard drive, and I'm like, okay, like I was listening to my old rap songs like by myself. I'm like, damn, like, okay. Because I kind of like resented music for a little while. I didn't want to hear about people's music. I kind of like pretended it didn't exist because I loved music and I felt like a failure.
Right.
And COVID kind of made me...
It can get real personal.
Yeah.
I mean,
so like I don't care who's dropping their new mixtape. Like I was kind of like mad it wasn't me or doing my thing because it didn't work for me at that time. I wasn't approaching it in the right ways. It just wasn't meant to be like that. And I was going through my hard drive, and I called my brother, and I'm like, I need to write a song. I need you to find me a singer. And for me, I'm a very, like, when I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And it was a split-second thought. And when I say I'm going to do something, picked up the phone, called, and within, like, a week, we picked up Callie from her house, like, waved to her parents. I'd never met this girl before. I just sent her some lyrics. She sent me back a voice memo, and I was like, I could work with this. She'd never been in the studio.
Wow.
I know she has musical talent and abilities because she's had a guitar and has song wrote before. She's talented in that area for sure, but no development as, like, a real artist to market. And it was a very humbling experience, putting, you know, somebody else completely first, doing what I love, and, you know, putting somebody else, like, in the position to win. Sometimes, you know, it's hard, especially because I have the love for wanting to be an artist myself. But I think I've grown a lot through that process, and that's my team. Like, all the artists I work with, like, I love them, and I treat them not like, oh, I'm your boss, your CEO. Like, we're not putting that out if I don't like it. Like, I run my label different than a major label runs theirs, for sure. I'm very caring, and I've been in the artist's shoes, and I want my artists to feel like I care about, you know, their opinion too.
Right. Well, it's art. And at the end of the day, you're making something, creating something out of thin air. So, you know, a lot of times artists will get in their own head if you don't allow them to get it out, you know, and even if it's not any good, just the thought of expressing it and getting it out will get them to the next thought. But if they end up having to hold on to something that they think is amazing that they're not allowed to use or put out, it ends up throwing a whole wrench in the system.
For sure.
Including their own art, you know. What I know Juggy was a big part of your journey. How did shout out Juggy. How did he help you a little bit manage or, you know, maneuver through some of these issues, and did he, because I know he helped you with the artistry stuff, and I mean that's how you know you and I linked up was through Juggy, so I know he was wanting to help you further in life. So explain kind of how you guys met and what was that first like process of him kind of helping you out.
No, for sure. I met Juggy really young. I want to say I was 18 or 19 at the time, and I was taking my rap career really serious, and my older cousin Kenny knew Juggy, and I'm all about networking.
Right.
How can you help me out? Who do you know? Like, and I was calling everybody I knew, starting with family, and Kenny linked me up with Juggy, and Juggy was the real first person to like put me on game in the music business as a business. I have a lot of business owners in my family, none in the music business.
Right.
So I
totally
have
different.
business background and principles and know how to, you know, run a business, but the music business is really intricate, and the paperwork and all that thing's important. And he introduced me to people in New Orleans like Raj Smooth and taught me how to do paperwork and, you know, beat agreements and different things that like I had no idea before. I'm just send me beats, I'm rapping on it, putting out a mixtape. I don't care. So Juggy kind of put together a plan and, you know, helped me network in New Orleans in my city and, you know, manage me for a short period of time. You know, eventually we went our separate ways. He was doing his thing, and then I kind of took over and was managing myself for a while after that.
Master P kind of stole him from everybody.
Yeah. Juggy was busy. We went our separate ways, but like he definitely planted seeds in me early, and it was really cool. After 2020, I think 2021, like once a year of opening my record label, full circle moment, I was like, let me call Juggy, see where this guy's at. I think it'd been like 8 years. And, you know, he answers the phone. I'm like, it's Lex. Like, what's up? And I was like, I got a label. I got an artist. Want you to meet her. And it was no thing. Like, send me the address to his house. We pull up at his house. He's listening to our records. Of course, I want his advice. You know, I looked up to him. He's like a mentor of mine.
Right.
And it was really cool. Like when he opened the door, we hugged for so long. He's like, this is like crazy seeing you as like CEO. Because I remember you being the crazy artist that like Juggy's rolling his eyes like she won't listen. You know, like, and now it's me and I got Callie, like my teenage artist, like same thing. And we were just like laughing and it was crazy. Within that moment, he's like, I don't really know how I can help you because my artist is pop. Callie was doing pop music besides linking her with producers. But he's like, I do know one guy, David. Gonna give you his number. Reach out to him. He's opening a studio in Metairie. So I'm thinking you're some kid with like a rented out suite in a strip mall. And I'm like, I've been to these studios before. I'm thinking Juggy's just trying to keep me busy. And then lo and behold, we pull up here and we meet you. And it was like a gift from God. Perfect timing. Like Louisiana doesn't have what Elation is bringing, and it's like it's amazing. Like it's a God thing that I feel like I met you, and I feel like you could definitely say the same.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I appreciate that. No, it's been great ever since we linked. And I love the energy over here. I love the people you bring around. So it's awesome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing today? Because this is a hell of an accomplishment and something you're pulling together with a lot of people. So explain a little bit how you're using Elation today as well as what you're doing.
Yeah. So we're having a casting call at Elation today for a feature film we're working on called Don't Sell Your Soul. And cool thing about the film, the whole thing will be worked on the project by Louisiana-based residents, and the whole project will be filmed here, all the music done, of course, at Elation. You know this. So first feature film I'm working on, so I'm executive producer. My brother, Jeremy, is directing, so we have about 100 to 150 people coming today to audition for that. It's a thriller, and it's about a record label that is based in Louisiana that have a bunch of artists, successful artists signed to it, and the artists start dying. And you have to find out what is causing that, which, you know, in short story, I guess it's a battle between good and evil, and you got to try to figure out, you know, what's going on in that thriller.
So it's like Clue.
Basically like
music
that.
Clue.
Yeah. And I know there's been movies and TV shows about music business before that are more like drama. This is like suspense, thriller. So I think it's going to be different. And I'm really excited about it. My production crew's like, you have a video interview scheduled today of the casting? I'm like, I can handle it. Y'all have nothing to worry about. Here's your schedule. Everybody's good.
It's the CEO role. You know?
Yeah, like I can handle it.
Y'all do this, I'll do this.
Yeah. Like you should have saw their face when I told them. I was like, yeah, by the way, my interview with David, same day as the casting, the exact minute it starts. And they're like, y'all can handle it. It's kind of good. I'm curious when this ends to see what's going on over there without me.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad that you're using the building properly, using a bunch of rooms, and it's exactly what I built the place for. So it's awesome and seeing it being used. What's your vision for your label in a sense? I know you have Callie. I know you have some other artists that you're looking at. But what do you want to see your label accomplish in music?
Lyrics are really important to me and all of, you know, the artists we work with, and just bring like a light to the music industry. I know there's a lot of people that do bad business in the industry, but I really want a team effort, and I want to be known that all my artists are from Louisiana. We make our music in Louisiana, and you don't have to go to LA or Miami or these bigger cities and move away from New Orleans. Like, we can make it here, but it's going to be a team effort, you know, and kind of all supporting each other. And of course, growing up from New Orleans, I respect Lil Wayne and what he's done. Watching Young Money, like Nicki Minaj and Drake are some of the most successful artists, and I would love to sit in a room with him one day and him put me on, like, drop some gems on like what I can do. I definitely look at what they did in my own city. I know it's a little different, but you know, just having that new wave of artists come from New Orleans that's not rap too.
Right. Well, it's a culture. It's a culture that I feel like New Orleans has in the music industry that's special to New Orleans. Mm-hmm. You know, and every now and then somebody will come out from another city and pluck something out of New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And so what you're creating is a culture down here, which is great. You know, and it's needed for more people to think like that. Because then I feel like if we held our own, everything would just kind of explode instead of worrying about where we need to go.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Well, that's awesome. Well, so quick question. What would be your music CEO idol that you would look up to? Someone that you're like, so like Jimmy Iovine would be one of mine, like that the guy that I kind of strive to be in the music industry. Because I know you've worked with Scott Storch, you've worked with, you've worked with some big people. We can't snuff that over. But what?
Yeah, I definitely respect Scott Storch, and I've worked with him with the amount of money he's made, like in the music industry for sure, with like beat production. Like you see some
it's made and spent,
but you see somebody like that and you're like, okay, like what they're putting on Instagram, there is people that put on a facade, but like you go meet with, work with him in the studio, and this is like real. Like there's money in this industry. Like if this guy can do it, why can't we? You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't say definitely I respect that. Somebody that I feel like is more of like an older staple in the industry that's like done a lot of creative things. I watched their documentary probably within the last year or two on Netflix, David Geffen.
Yep.
That was like really cool. Like I saw myself, I know like his personal life, whatever, but like as far as what he did like in the industry creatively, like I really respect his position because I kind of see that more of like a CEO, because I can't get on the keyboard and play. Like I can't do everything, but he put people in position and they won. Right. You know what I mean? Like 100%. With some really big records that are still playing till today.
Absolutely.
Not just trendy stuff. And then also like Lil Wayne, like I said again, I'm gonna say it again because I'm from New Orleans. I watched him as an artist, which is kind of the same approach I took.
Right.
And then flipped to CEO and then put on some of the biggest people in the industry today. So, I mean, I got to give him his flowers for sure.
Absolutely. No, 100%. Well, I'll be honest with you. I see you as a little bit of a Berry Gordy because with Motown. Because, and I know it's old school, but you should go look up his story because he was a songwriter that believed Detroit had some of the best music to offer in the world and decided to make Motown and Detroit. He blew up Detroit because of it, and he held his own and worked with his own local talent and brought out the best in people. And so I feel like I see a little bit of that in you. So you should look up a little bit of that.
No, I definitely will. I love watching documentaries about people either in the music or film industry, like what they had to go through. Because like you see these people with like immense success, and then you watch their story and it's like they would have just gave up that one time, like it's with the whole industry would be different. And like sometimes it's so motivating to me to learn about people. So I'll definitely look into that. Sometimes I feel like I live under a rock. Like I don't know all these people.
We have to live under a rock because it's art.
Yeah, people in the industry. Like I don't even listen to music. When I'm in the car, I'm listening to my music of my label that we're working on, or beats to write, or literally silence.
Yep.
And it's like it's almost like when you're like method acting. Like if I'm working on this project and helping these kids make music, I don't want to be exposed to what's already out there and it sound the same. Like I want it to sound original.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to saturate your art if you listen to all of these other opinions. It's gonna mess up what you have in your own head to get out. So no, that's good. That's good. Well, so just the last question I think we normally ask everybody, and it's my elation question. So, what brings elation to you in your life?
Definitely creating music, but also adding that like visual aspect to it. Just like creating anything and be able to take something, like you were saying earlier, from nothing, like from inside of us, and make it something tangible that you can see and hear and feel with your senses, and then getting people's reaction to that. And just like, it's just, to me, that's what I feel like I was made to do, is to create things.
Awesome.
So what's the definition? Can you define it? Not to put you on the spot. Like, what's the real definition of elation to you?
Well,
I want to make sure I answered it right.
Exhilarating euphoria is how I define elation. So, yeah, I mean, it's such a broad word, and for me, it's whatever brings happiness to you. So it can be giving back, and it can be a career, it could be being a father, it can be cooking, it could really be anything. So that's why I love elation as a whole, even as a motto or a way to live through your life, because no matter what you choose, you can be happy in it. So it's all about a mindset.
Yeah. If I had to like pinpoint it down to a moment and not like a broad answer, I think when I'm by myself at home in my office where I write music, and it's just like I'm having that alone time, pen to paper with the music playing, and like really just songwriting. Like if I had to pinpoint it, like I feel so fulfilled when I do it. You know what I mean? And it's like I always feel like it just comes out of me. I'm like, where'd that come from? You know what I mean? Like it's
100%.
like, so I think that moment, songwriting, like pen to paper alone, like that's like my ultimate like elation.
That's your
That's
meditation.
it. Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's therapeutic. I think
100.
I would lose my mind if I didn't like get it out of me.
Right.
That's why you got to let your artists make the music they want to make.
100%. 100%. Well, awesome. Thanks, Lex. Thanks for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about where we could find you and your socials and where we follow you?
Yes, definitely follow Lexcann Records, which is on TikTok and Instagram, Lexcann Records. And then our website launches. So in 2024, this year, we'll have a website, lexcannrecords.com. And you'll be able to find bios on all of our artists, headshots, their music, merchandise, all in one place. So that'll be the best spot, lexcannrecords.com. And our socials will all be on there with all the artists, their socials, everything all in one spot.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. Well, thanks for joining us today at Elation, where we find exhilarating euphoria through creation and collaboration. Have a good day.